men and women and how they cannot share empathetically. Welcome to the MorrowMarriage podcast. I'm so excited. It's the 100th episode. I want to talk to you today about something that I do with my men in the program. See, most programs, they encourage you not to talk to your partner about them.
I'm Cass.
And I'm Kathryn. So I should say thank you because he goes to work every day. And I said, yeah, you don't have to say thanks every day, but you could throw in like, you're so thankful that he brings home a paycheck. You're so thankful that you can get whatever you're getting for the kids for Christmas.
He is just a paycheck. What about his needs? Guys, we are here today. We want to talk about not loving, or I'll say don't love your inner child.
We're MorrowMarriage.
Let's flip divorce statistics with the new marriage.
Welcome to the MorrowMarriage podcast today, guys. And today I want to talk about men and women and how they cannot share empathetically teaching each other. What do you think?
Good one.
This was brought up by James, our executive vice president. But before we get into that, guys, I just want to share with you, the first copies of Disrupting Divorce are out, not to the public yet. Hold your horses. But just so that we could do a quick edit live rather than give you guys something that wasn't finished. So you're welcome. Can't wait to get this to you guys. September 16th is the release date. If you go to morrowmarriage.com/disrupt, I will let you know because you'll enter your email. I'll let you know if we release the book early for you. That's going to be exciting.
That is.
All right, guys. Now let's get into this. So you right away went, ooh, I think you said good one.
Yeah, because you said men and women cannot something empathetically.
Cannot share empathetically.
While teaching
each other. Yeah.
Yeah. So where my mind went was often what we try to do is we try to teach our spouse, we try to teach anyone around us the things that we've already learned, the things that we know. We want to correct, we want to help, we want to do all of those things, especially those of us, some of us do it more than others. I am always trying to teach people, and I have to be careful that I don't correct people too much, including my husband. And when you're teaching and when you're correcting, and even if it's a gentle correction, empathy, you might feel empathetic, but you can't express it vocally or verbally when you are literally dictating what someone should be doing.
100%. And I think this is really, really powerful because there's a few things that you need to hone in on first to understand this. Number one, men and women are completely different. Okay.
What?
Well, I know, it's crazy.
Oh my
right?
goodness, breakthrough. Everybody's marriage is now saved.
You are welcome again. So here's the thing. So if Kathryn is trying to teach me something and I don't understand, you see, there could be frustration there because first of all, I might understand it. And because I don't have the empathy for it. And then I don't really get it because it's also frustrating because it's your spouse teaching you, right? Remember when I would teach you, like when I was your trainer and I would teach you how to squat and you're just like, shut up.
No.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
No matter what I told her to do at the gym, she just wouldn't do it. Well, we already innately have this problem as men and women where we communicate.
Wait. I would do it.
Yes.
But I was annoyed that he was telling me to do it.
That's more like it. Yeah.
And I think that is transferable. You know, you might do what your spouse is asking you to do, but when you're annoyed when you do it, you're not doing it with joy.
That's right.
You're doing it because you feel like you have to, and then you're like cursing them.
That's right.
Even though my squat is amazing now because my husband really fine-tuned my squat.
Well, I fine-tuned a lot there.
I was super annoyed.
And it's true, guys. And it goes both ways. And in fact, if you think about it with your children, a lot of times your children don't want to listen to you because you're the parent always correcting them, right? And so if you can understand that men and women are different, there's going to be feelings and logic done differently for each. And then when we start to get into teaching, there's a reason that, I do the bulk of my men's coaching, or my mentors that are male do this to men, and you women would work with the women. And then occasionally there's a crossover, right? Like when you take care of the guys every week with a call or training, one of them is actually more training. It's not even really coaching, right? Would you say?
Oh, you're talking about the wrap room.
The wrap room.
Yes, that is training.
Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit different, guys, right? And so I just think that we should be very, very careful when we think that we're in our marriage and we're trying to get through issues. We're essentially training each other based off our needs, our wants, something we know how to do. Maybe we think we do it better. And we lack the empathy when it's the opposite sex, I think, a lot more, right? Like if males start getting into it, they'll start to have like a bunch of banter. A lot of times they start to take each other down. They start to do whatever. Nobody's caring about how anybody's feeling in general, right?
So same sex, same gender.
Same gender.
So men lack empathy with men.
Often.
Men lack empathy with women. women lack empathy with men. I would say women have a lot of empathy with other women. Though.
I would totally agree with that. I would totally agree with that. Whenever I've seen your women talk and communicate and help, and they're also really good at picking out where. So if we're working hard in our men's group to try to be more empathetic, and we've done some other kinds of programs where men and women come together, right? And we could see, I remember Serenity one time saying, well, that was very empathetic. I think it was to me. It could have been to somebody else.
It was to you.
It was to me. And so
for a narcissist, I can't believe you're a narcissist. That was very empathetic for a narcissist, is what she said.
Yeah, that's okay. I remember that now. So the point about it was like, there's been a lot of work that goes into this, and I'm still not the best. In fact, we recently I had to say to you, through the advice of one of my men teaching me, I went to you.
We teach our people so well that they can teach us back.
That's right. I had a reflection with him, had a conversation with him. He's like, hey, check this out. What if you could be a little more empathetic about this, this, and this? And I then brought that back to you. And I think you sent him like 3 thank you messages or something like that, right? It's different perspective because a man was teaching me, sharing how he could relate that as a man would feel. And so I could take that to Kathryn and understand more. And I was a lot more receptive, a lot more open to Kathryn, right?
Because you had the support of him.
That's right.
What was I going to say there? I think, the other thing is that went back to when you're teaching your spouse. So what he said to you and what you brought to me, it just reinforced, you might not know what to do in the moment. And so that's why we make mistakes. But when someone comes in and says, hey, what do you think about this? I'm not married to that other person. And so you can tell him about my behavior and he can look at it from an outsider's perspective, the same way you can coach him on his behavior with his wife.
That's right.
Because we have 2 very different marriages.
That's right.
And so when he talks about his wife, it doesn't trigger you. When you talk about me, it doesn't trigger him. So he can look at it from an outsider's perspective using the tools because we all struggle with certain things. I still struggle with defensiveness. I work on it all the time, but I still struggle with it. So when we struggle with something, it's even harder when it's with your spouse because your spouse is the one that pushes those buttons.
Pushes the buttons. There's the trigger. You've got more in the background. Quite often we're carrying different layers and stacking them. So I'd like to encourage you guys, when you're seeking help, first of all, the person has to have skills. Okay. You can't just go talk. I spoke to a man today on a call. I said, you don't have a support network, do you? And he said, oh yeah, I've got 5 brothers and sisters. And I said, okay, what are their marriages like? And he said, well, 2 are single, 1's divorced, and the other one, I can't remember what he said. And I'm like, you can't get advice from those people. They don't have any skills. You're trying to get advice, and these people don't have any idea of the direction that you're trying to go right now. Number 1. Number 2, he's mixing it up with people we'll say would really, I was going to say quote unquote love. No, they really love him. Okay. They're his family and they want to support. So you're going to have a different kind of empathy there, right? Now, as it turns out, they really love her. So they're really upset. And so now you have all the empathy being brushed off and pushed over and flown around here. And
selective empathy.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me.
From people that don't have the skills.
Yes.
Empathy can be a skill. It has to be. For you, it's
For
a
me,
learned
it's
skill.
a learned skill.
For me, it's quite natural most of the time. But for some people, it's a learned skill. So what he's describing is a situation where people might have empathy, but the empathy might be, that actually sounds maybe more like loyalty. Maybe not necessarily empathy, because they don't have the skills to be able to speak into this situation. So even though they feel a certain way, that could come from projection, that could come from triggers, that might not necessarily come from empathy.
Yeah.
Just because you can see something from someone else's point of view, it doesn't mean that you're skilled in empathy. If I were to meet a woman, now I'm further in my journey now, but if I were to meet a woman who were in my situation, married to a narcissist, now I have skills. But prior to me having skills, I would have automatically resonated with that woman. But it probably wouldn't have been good advice because I hadn't healed my marriage yet. So you can get on board with someone and be on someone's team without actually showing empathy. You're actually just being loyal and coming into community with that person.
Validation.
And that isn't always good if there's no skills to back it up.
No, 100%. Like even when we talk about stat response and you're supposed to understand the triggers and try to validate, many men, because they don't understand this, they'll spin off into happy wife, happy life and just try to make everything easy, keep the peace, even fawn just to get through that. And there's underlying fear and this and that. And they think they're being empathetic. And this is when your wife will say to you, don't try to counselor me right now. Don't try to therapy my ass right now, right? You don't understand me.
Quit your psychobabble.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Don't psychoanalyze me.
Exactly. All that stuff. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.